The MCU finally confirms Mephisto! Welcome back to Nerdist News, boils and ghouls. I'm Kyle Anderson, a dream of dark and troubling things. And today we're going to discuss how the Marvel Cinematic Universe finally did something we've been hoping they'd do for years. No, not find a director for the Blade movie, something that is far less important and more likely.
Some motherfuckers are always trying to ice skate uphill.
The MCU has finally, after years of speculation and theorizing, confirmed that Mephisto exists. Yeah, we did it! We did it, everybody! Well, we didn't actually do anything. Okay, it was done by someone! Somebody did it! It was done! Look, we know we're the only ones having this reaction, but we were sure excited when Agatha All Along said Mephisto's name out loud.
Mephisto.
Who is he? Why are we excited? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. To do that, we're going to discuss what's going on in Agatha All Along, as well as what Mephisto could mean for the MCU going forward. If you want to know nothing, please leave this video running and go do something else. Gotta give us that sweet ad revenue.
Mephisto.
I fisto, you fisto. We all fisto for me fisto. It's the dumbest thing I've ever said. Our long national nightmare is over, folks. After us thinking each and every week of WandaVision in 2021 would prove to be the birth of Mephisto in the MCU, and subsequently every other Marvel thing ever since, we finally know he exists!
Mephisto.
That confirmation came, fittingly, in the direct follow-up to WandaVision, Agatha All Along. Potions which Jennifer Kale made a direct reference to the nefarious demon during Agatha All Along's third episode.
Mephisto.
Now that we know the infamous Marvel Comics character is out there, we can ask new questions like, where and when might we meet him? That is, if we haven't already. We don't know. A deadly wine party briefly turned into an ominous warning during Agatha All Along's Through Many Miles of Tricks and Trials. Jennifer took a quick moment to warn Teen about Agatha.
Watch your back with Agatha.
I know how people feel about her.
Did you know she traded her own child for the Book of the Damned?
A very possibility teased later in the episode when Agatha had a terrifying vision of a baby bassinet. When Jennifer cited the potential fates Nicholas encountered, she said he might be dead, a demon, or even an agent of none other than Mephisto.
Mephisto.
That single mention of Mephisto has been a long time coming for many viewers.
Mephisto.
Throughout WandaVision, viewers and sites like us were on a constant Mephisto watch, as the comic character seemed like the best bet for that show's secret big bad. The Disney Plus series encouraged that with constant Easter eggs and subtle references to him. For those of you who don't know, here's a quick reminder of who Mephisto is in Marvel Comics. Created by Stan Lee and John Buscema in 1968's Silver Surfer #3, Mephisto is essentially a stand-in for Satan in the Marvel Universe. His name is a shortening of the name Mephistopheles, the demon of Germanic folklore. Although, the comics have gone out of their way to let readers know Satan and Mephisto are actually separate entities. Even so, Mephisto looks just like the traditional Judeo-Christian depiction of the devil. He does your typical Satan shtick, tempting good people with deals and selling their souls to him, etc., etc. And he has beef with nearly every major hero in the pages of Marvel Comics. Master of the Mystic Arts, Doctor Strange has tangled with Mephisto on several occasions as one of the few Marvel goodies who can actually outwit Old Fisty. Are we happy with that? I don't know if I am. Silver Surfer was Mephisto's first foe in the comics, where he tried to tempt Space Jesus in the space desert. Yeah, Stan Lee originally thought Norrin Radd was like a Christ allegory. What do we know? It was the 60s. Mephisto was the father, sort of, to Wanda and Vision's children, Billy and Tommy, who'd go on to become Wiccan and Speed. In the retcon of the story leading up to Young Avengers, it's revealed the fictional children were actually born from shards of Mephisto's soul. See? So we weren't just grasping at straws. Other heroes like Ghost Rider and Spider-Man tussled with Mephisto, as well as Doctor Doom, who maybe has the most reason to hate Mephisto. More on that later. So yeah, we were convinced Mephisto would be a major part of WandaVision. Not only were Billy and Tommy in the series, and we know they were fictional, but the show kept dropping hints in other ways too. Early in the series, town den mother Dottie says, "The devil's in the details," to which Agnes, aka Agatha Harkness, mutters to Wanda,
"That's not the only place he is."
I mean, come on! Devil here! And then when other Pietro, played by Evan Peters, shows up, not only was it like, ooh, they're merging the X-Men universe and the MCU already, but in the Halloween episode, fake Pietro says to Billy and Tommy, "Unleash hell, demon spawn!" Like, what were we supposed to think? Plus, you had Paul Bettany talking about working with some A-lister he'd always wanted to work with, and it turned out to just be himself in 2 roles, like, the dude? But no, Mephisto wasn't the villain. It was, in fact, Agatha All Along. After WandaVision ended with nary a whisper of Mephisto, we were still convinced he'd show up somewhere.
Mephisto.
And it wasn't like we were making these up out of whole cloth either. We had some strong evidence. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness seemed like a prime spot for Mephisto to show up, especially since we knew Wanda would be in that movie, and who better to be the villain for a Doctor Strange movie featuring Scarlet Witch than a villain who is a nemesis to both of them?
Mephisto.
Real villain of that movie? Wanda, weirdly and kind of ill-judgedly. She did spaghettify John Krasinski, which was at least awesome.
Mephisto.
But we knew another movie was right on the horizon that seemed exactly the one for him to appear. Spider-Man 3. Yes, Spider-Man No Way Home seemed tailor-made for Devil Boy Jones, that's what I call him, since he's the villain in the exact comic story that movie adapted. In the comics, when Peter Parker's secret identity as Spider-Man is revealed to the public, his life is nearly destroyed as a result. So he makes a deal with Mephisto to erase all knowledge of his secret identity from everyone's mind. In the comics, the price of this bargain is his marriage to Mary Jane Watson. In the MCU, Doctor Strange administered the spell, not Mephisto. And yes, we already had a ton of villains and 3 Spider-Mans in the movie, so maybe having a brand new villain would have gotten lost. And you know, we weren't even done. We thought Giancarlo Esposito was going to play Mephisto in whatever movie he ended up being in. Instead, he's in Captain America Brave New World as Sidewinder of the Serpent Society, which was on upwards of 0 people's bingo cards. We eventually gave up trying to predict, although our idea that Mephisto might end up being the villain of Ironheart isn't wrong yet, until Agatha All Along pulled us right back to Mephisto Watch.
Mephisto.
The episode makes him sound as terrifying as we imagined. Jennifer reacts as though ending up as an agent of Mephisto is worse than dying or being just a regular demon. It seems very likely Mephisto will show up in this series, but even if he doesn't, a few more possibilities on the horizon seem more likely than ever. Yes, we're gonna have to theorize again because we have to! It's like life-giving air to us! And if you'd like to read about them, Eric Diaz has you covered on Nerdist.com. All right, so we're fairly certain a third outing of Doctor Strange is in the cards, and as we stated earlier, no one has had more run-ins with Mephisto than the former Sorcerer Supreme. Doctor Strange discovered that the demon Satanish was once part of Mephisto and tricked them into fusing into one being again. Mephisto has hated Strange ever since. This animosity could manifest in a third Doctor Strange film. Now, the cliffhanger at the end of Multiverse of Madness shows Charlize Theron's Clea beckoning Strange to go fight Dormammu, whose realm is totally different from Mephisto's. However, given what we know is coming down the pike, we're not convinced Mephisto might not be a smaller secondary villain in the piece to lead into later films. In their most famous encounter, Stephen Strange journeys to Mephisto's realm to help one of his most lethal enemies, Doctor Doom. In the comics, Victor Von Doom's mother, Cynthia Von Doom, was a Romani witch who died at Mephisto's hand. She traded her soul to Mephisto for power to defeat Latveria's dictator, the Baron. Forever obsessed with retrieving his mother's soul from Mephisto's realm, Doom sought mastery over science and magic for this purpose. Eventually, in the 1989 graphic novel Doctor Strange and Doctor Doom: Triumph and Torment, Doom and Strange go to Mephisto's hellish dimension. There, Doom confronts Mephisto at last, allowing his mother to ascend to heaven. With Robert Downey Jr. coming into the MCU as Doctor Doom, it's entirely possible this initial confrontation and mixing of multiverses could lead into Avengers Doomsday. In other spookums areas of the Marvel Universe, we have Ghost Rider. Only the Robbie Reyes version of the Spirit of Vengeance has ever made it to screens anywhere near the Marvel Cinematic Universe in ABC's Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on Wednesdays at 8. That show's canonicity is on the unlikely end of things, but Marvel TV's Brad Winderbaum recently said he really wants to bring a Ghost Rider to the MCU as a series, preferably the second iteration, Danny Ketch. And where there's a burning revenge skull, Mephisto isn't far behind. In the comics, the deal with the devil that Johnny Blaze made that transformed him into the Ghost Rider was with Mephisto, not Satan, as he once thought. Mephisto and his son Blackheart continued to plague the subsequent Ghost Rider, Johnny's brother Danny Ketch, on a regular basis. There are few Marvel heroes with as much history with Mephisto as Ghost Rider, so he'll have to play a part in the eventual MCU incarnation, right? We don't have Norrin Rad casting yet, but we know Galactus and the Heralds of him will show up in the Fantastic Four First Steps. Maybe Mephisto's reach will spread to the furthest reaches of space in subsequent films.
Mephisto.
The best thing about our theories? They could all be true. In the comics, Mephisto has fought almost everyone. Thor, the Avengers, the X-Men, and even Daredevil have all taken cracks at the Red Rocket himself. Sorry, that's Andy Dalton. Anyway, with one little mention, Agatha All Along has opened the door of possibilities on one of the great as-yet untapped baddies in Marvel Comics.
Mephisto.
Let's just hope we aren't all collecting Social Security by time he shows up. a thing that we'll have forever. But tell us, what do you think? Were you surprised Mephisto got a shout out in Agatha All Along?
Mephisto.
Do you think he could be behind everything befalling our witchy road team? And are you annoyed to have more Nerdist theories about Mephisto to look forward to? It'll go on forever! Let us know in the comments below, and for more of the latest and greatest in the pop culture sphere, never look away from Nerdist.com.